All right, so the last section of Unit 2 is all about proportions. And so when you are solving proportions, you're going to have two fractions that are set equal to each other. And how you solve this is you cross multiply. So we're going to do 3 times 6, and that'll give you 18. And then you'll do the other one, 9 times k, which would give you 9k. Okay, and so now we have our equation set up, so now we just need to solve. And this, we need to get the k by itself, so right now it's 9 times k. So we need to do the opposite and divide by 9. And therefore, k is 18 divided by 9, which is 2. All right, let's do another one. So we're gonna let's do the 4 times 9 first, or 4 times x, excuse me. That would give you 4x. And then 9 times 10 would give you 90. Uh-oh, looks like this one's gonna give us a decimal, but that's okay. So divide by 4. And those would cancel. And so x would be 22.5, I believe. You stick that on your calculator. Okay, one more. Okay, this time we have a negative. So be aware when you have a negative, you're going to either need to move that to the top or to the bottom. It doesn't matter which one you pick, but you just have to move it somewhere. Because excuse me, let me explain it to you. So negative 8 over 4 is the same thing as 8 over negative 4, which is equal to negative 8 divided by 4. All three of those mean the same thing. They all end up equaling negative 2. Okay, so that's why it doesn't really matter. But when you're doing these proportions, it's really easy to miss or forget about the negative, and it throws your answer off. So I'm just going to go ahead and scooch it up here to the 8. Just a personal preference. It doesn't matter at all. Okay, now I'm ready to cross multiply. So let's do negative 8 times r would be negative 8r. 4 times 7 would give you 28. Then let's go ahead and divide by negative 8. Look at me giving you all these decimal problems. How nice of you, or nice of me. So now you're going to do 28 divided by negative 8. And you get, those cancel, so it's r equals negative 3.5. Okay. All right, now it's going to get a little bit trickier. Those last few were too easy. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cross multiply, but this time we have to be a little bit more careful. So let's do the red first. 6 times x minus 8. So if you notice, there's two things going on over here. There's x and negative 8. Since there's two terms, that's called a binomial, we're going to need parentheses on this. So it's 6 times x minus 8. Okay, and then that's going to equal the other two, the 8 and 3. Those are just one number, so you can multiply them. That would give you 24. All right, now how do we solve this? Well, we distribute to get rid of those parentheses. So 6 times x gives you 6x. 6 times negative 8 is negative 48. And then I'm just going to drop this down here. All right, now it's just a two-step equation. We're trying to isolate this variable. So I'm going to add 48, to both sides. Add 48. So I have 6x is all that's left over on the left side is equal to, let's go ahead and add this. I am getting 72. Divide by 6, divide by 6. X equals 72 divided by 6 would give you 12. Okay, let's do another one of those. So I gave you another negative on this. I'm just going to move it up to the top. So that is now negative 8. Okay, you also could it on the 5. It doesn't matter. All right, so now let's multiply. So we're going to have 5 parentheses k plus 10 is equal to negative 8 times 6 would be negative 48. Okay, we're ready to solve. Let's go ahead and distribute that 5 to get rid of the parentheses. 5 times k is 5k. 5 times 10 is 50. Bring everything else down. All right, so now we are trying to isolate this 5k. So let's get that 50 off of there by subtracting it. So minus 50, minus 50. Those cancel, and we have 5k is equal to, and it's negative 48 minus 50, so that would be negative 98. All right, let's divide by 5. So k is going to equal negative, I believe, 19.6, I believe. Okay. All right, let's do this one. Pause this one, try it by yourself, see what you got. Okay, so 6 times 9 gives you 54 is equal to 2 parentheses b plus 9. All right, let's solve it by distributing the 2. So that would be 2b plus 18. And drop down your equal sign and your 54. Then we're trying to isolate the 2b, so I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides. Those cancel. What is that? That's going to be 36 is equal to, the only thing that's left on the right is 2b. And how do you get that 2 off of the b? Well, you divide it off. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So your b is going to be 36 divided by 2, which is 18. All right, now this one is it's just a smidge different, not too bad. Okay, let's go ahead and cross multiply. So n times 5 is going to be 5n. And then we, of course, need our parentheses for the green. So 9 times 3 minus 2. All right, so now let's distribute the 9. 9 times n is 9n. Minus 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. All right, this one is different. So if you notice on the last ones, we were always moving the constant number over. So that was the number without a variable. But this time the constants, there's only one term with constants. So I need to get my n's on the other side. So that means I need to move this 9n. So I have all the n's on one side and all the constants on the other. So we're just going to do it like we would if it was a constant. So it's positive 9n. So we have to subtract 9n from both sides, minus 9n. Okay, so then that gives me 5n minus 9n would be negative 4n is equal to negative 18. Divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4. So n is positive 4.5. Okay, and there are a couple ways to solve that problem, but that's just what I think is the easiest way. You may have a different way that works, which is fine. Just make sure that you can get 4.5 no matter which way you decide to go. All right, let's do this one. Same thing. I'm gonna cross multiply. So this would be 3 times n. 3n is equal to 6 times n minus 7. Let's go ahead and distribute it. So 6 times n is 6n. 6 times negative 7 is negative 42. All right, same thing. I don't want to have to move my 42 because it's already by itself. It's already a constant by itself, right? There's only one term with a constant. So instead, I need to move the 6n over to the other side so I can get the n's on the left side. So let's subtract it. Minus 6n minus 6n. That cancels. 3n minus 6n would be negative 3n is equal to negative 42. All right, and then divide by negative 3 to get the n by itself. N is equal to, I believe, positive 14. Yes. And that's your answer. Okay, now we're getting crazy. I'm giving you two binomials, which is fine. It's the same exact thing. But we're just going to have more than one set of parentheses, which is fine. So we've got 9 times x minus 2 over on the right side. You could put it on the left too. It really doesn't matter. And then 5 times x plus 10 on the other side. All right, let's solve this. We're going to distribute on both sides. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 10 is positive 50. And let's go ahead and distribute over here. 9 times x is 9x. 9 times negative 2 would be negative 18. All right, so now I have constants. So I have 50, I have 50 and negative 18. Those are our constants. They're on both sides of the equation. And then I have 5x and 9x on both sides. So we need to get our x's to one side and our constants to the other. And if you remember from earlier in this unit, I said always move the smaller x term. And so in this case, that would be the 5x. So it's just going to give you less likelihood of dealing with a negative. So minus 5x minus 5x. So then you have 50 equals, because those canceled, 9x minus 5x is 4x minus 18. Let's add 18 to both sides. So 4x equals 68. Then our last step, divide by 4. And x is going to be 17, I believe. Okay, one more of those. Okay, so let's cross multiply. So 3 parentheses b minus 4 is equal to 6 parentheses b minus 8. All right, we've got it set up. Now we can do our distributing. So that would be 3b minus 12 is equal to, distribute that 6b minus 48. All right, now we've got constants on both sides, just like the last one, and variable terms on both sides. So let's move the smaller variable term. So we're going to move that 3b by minusing it to both sides. So now I have negative 12 is equal to 6b minus 3b is 3b minus 48. And now it's a two-step equation, so I'm going to add the 48 to both sides. Be careful, that 12 is negative. So 3b is going to equal, I believe, 36, positive 36. Divide by 3 to both sides. So your b is 12. All right, that is it for proportions and the whole unit. So have a good rest of your day.